And good morning and welcome to another episode of the Common Sense Show TV podcast. Today is February the 2nd, 2019. We are going into chapter 5 of my life right now. This is chapter 5. This is where life gets a little bit interesting. All right. So I need you guys to stay tuned, hang on tight and put on a seatbelt and a helmet. It's going to be pretty good. All right. So just hang tight for me. And welcome back to the Common Sense Show TV podcast. It's February the 4th, like I said earlier. Before I get into anything, if any of you guys watched the Super Bowl last night, I don't know about you guys, but it absolutely sucked to me. The game itself sucked. The commercial sucked. The whole thing was just a bad thing. I don't know who's behind the Super Bowl this year, but good God, they suck this year. But, Maroon 5 absolutely, sucked eggs. I heard Adam Levine was topless, but that's for all the women folk. I don't care about any of that. But, yeah. And the New England Patriots are our 2019 Super Bowl world champs. Don't know really how to feel about that, but there's he has his 6th ring. I'm hoping that he sits his butt down after this one and goes away and gives someone else a chance. It's amazing. People are just selfish, and you keep playing because you want to win 6 rings. You sucked all season, but you get in the playoffs and now you're a super team. Congratulations to Julian Edelman, who was the Super Bowl MVP. Julian, man, good job. Good job. All right. So you guys, if you've been listening, and I'm beginning to believe there are some listeners that have been listening to the podcast that have probably listened to all 4 episodes and going, okay, what's next? And we're going to get into what's next. But let me first thank you guys for listening. I really, really, really appreciate it. And it helps me. And I really am into this podcasting thing because live streaming is one thing. Podcasting is something else. To where you can just sit and talk into your mic, tell your story or tell whatever it is you're talking about. And it's just a whole different thing, right? So the 5th chapter or this session that we're going to do today, I'm going to break this up into maybe 3 separate episodes because it's so much in this section of my life. It was just so much stuff happening. It was just a lot of things going on, and I'm gonna have to break it down because I want to keep my podcast 3 or 4 hours long. I'm not gonna do that. But it was a lot going on. So where we are in the story, I am the older woman that I've been cheating on for the last 3.5 years or what have you. We're drawing to the end, right? We're drawing to the end. And so, excuse me, I'm drawing to the end. And instead of just being honest with her and saying, I'm done with this, I'm over it, I'm leaving you, I did it the retarded way. This is what I did. My brother, right, and his wife, at the time he was in the military, and they were living down in Jacksonville, North Carolina. Camp Lejeune. If those of you guys from North Carolina know what that is. Camp Lejeune. He was a Marine, and his wife had a job at a call center. And I remember him calling me, or she actually called me, and she says, I want you to meet my friend that works here with me. And she's awesome. You're going to love her, this and that. So I was like, where I was with the older lady, I was over it. And so I took the bus to Jacksonville. Greyhound. I hate Greyhound. I don't care what nobody say. I hate Greyhound. But Jordan, North Carolina, I went to Jacksonville. My brother picked me up from the bus station, and we went back to his house. I took a nap because I was dead tired. Took a nap. And so the next morning I got up and my sister-in-law took me to her job to meet this young lady. When we pulled up to the job, she was standing outside, and I'll never forget, she had this tan plaid short set with the shorts and the top and a white t-shirt under. And it's one of those things I remember. I have a pretty good memory. I remember a lot of stuff, but, she was standing there and I was like, oh, I was taken back. I mean, she was, 5'4", 4'5". Nice looking young lady, light skin, very cute, whatever. And so we went to lunch together. We were both nervous as heck because we were meeting for the very first time. Now, mind you, at the time I met her, she was about 8 months pregnant. Right? She was about 8 months pregnant, which you guys didn't know that. But yeah, she was 8 months pregnant. But my sister-in-law didn't bother to tell me that. So I found that out when I got down there. That she was 8 months pregnant. I was like, what am I going to do with what happened here? And so, she was 8 months pregnant. And so we went to lunch and it was a great, no, she wasn't pregnant. I'm sorry. I take that back. She wasn't pregnant. She had a 2-month-old daughter. She was already born. I'm sorry. She was 3 months old. My bad. I misspoke. So she was already born, but she was about 3 months old. So I didn't know this. So I'm like, okay, cool. Which that didn't deter me because at the time my mindset as a man was, or a boy was, ain't mine. You know what I'm saying? So I'm cool. So we go down there, we have lunch. And of course she has lunch to spend time with me. And she's like, excuse me, I don't want to go back to work. So she doesn't, she calls off and we spend the rest of the day together. Right. And so the next day we went to the beach and all of this crazy stuff. And I spent the night, that night, she had some issues because at one point in time, she was living, in Jacksonville, living with her cousin, and her cousin was on the other side of crazy, and he found himself liking her or what have you. So when I was down there and I spent the night with her at 2-3 o'clock in the morning, she lives in a trailer right now. She lives in a mobile home. And so at 2-3 o'clock in the morning, I see headlights, pull up her bedroom window. And then the headlights stayed on for a sec. And then the next thing I know, I hear a door slam and I hear a knock at her front door. This is at 2:30 in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning. And it's the cousin. And the cousin is just upset, that I'm there and all this other good stuff. Now, if you guys listen to my podcast, I'm thinking to myself I know you guys thinking to yourself, this boy get into the craziest situations. That's why I'm doing this, because I want to help young men to not do this. And it wasn't the first time that this happened. This was maybe the 5th time that this happened. So she, goes off into the left field and she cusses him out and all that sort of good stuff. And he leaves and she comes back to bed. So no big deal. But what happened in the beginning of our relationship with me and my second wife was that, she had a lot of that going on, a lot of, some issues, and we had to work through those. It got so to the point where he was cutting her phone lines, because I didn't stay there. I went back to Charlotte. I came back to Charlotte. That was a weekend thing. I came back to Charlotte, and I couldn't stop thinking about her, yada, yada. Long story short, I decided to go back down. So I was going to move back. I was going to move in with my brother and his wife, but his apartment that he lived in was so matchbox. I mean, it was him, his wife, and Zeke was a baby. And it was just those three, but it was so much. It's like a 1-bedroom. So it was a matchbox. And so, I was like, I'll come and stay with you. I'll sleep on your couch. I even took some job interviews while I was down there. It was crazy. And so my brother was like, you can't stay here. Ain't enough room. This is my brother. Now I love him to death. And he's still the same way now as my brother. I love him. And he's like, no, you can't stay here. You got to go. And so he said, you had to go, but you do something else. And so me and my second wife decided to, make a go of it. I moved in with her. And again, the cousin was still, upset at the fact that I was there. And now, I was there for a visit and then I came back to stay. It really got serious, with him. So we had a confrontation, me and him, and I'm like, dude, that's your people. Calm down, bro. Like that's your blood. It's not like he was a third or fourth or fifth cousin. I mean, that's my sister's that's my auntie's son. I can't do that. You know what I'm saying? And so that is what was going on. And so we had a confrontation. I let him know that I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to take care of her. And, at this point, our daughter, because her baby father was totally out of the picture at that point. And so I said, I'm going to take care of her and our daughter. So it got so bad to the point where this dude he was just tripping. He was, like I said, cutting phone lines, coming by the house, picking through windows. It was really bad. You know what I'm saying? So bad to the point where we ended up deciding to leave. We decided to leave and go back to Chicago. This is in 2000. Let me see. Let me get the right date here. 2011. No, 2010. No. That's not right because we were married by that time. What's up, Anchor listeners for the Common Sense Show TV? What's going on, man? Listen, real quick, I just want to ask you a question. Have any of you ever thought about starting your own podcast? When I was trying to start this podcast, get it off the ground, I've been on Anchor for a couple of years now. I had a lot of questions about it. How do I record an episode? How do I get my podcast on Apple Music and Spotify and Google and all that good stuff? And how do I make money from it? So the answer to every one of those questions that I asked myself was simply this particular platform at anchor.fm. Now, Anchor, you can do everything here, one stop for recording, hosting, and distributing all of your podcasts because you don't have to really go through a middleman. It's all done right here on Anchor. Best of all, it's 100% free, you guys, and ridiculously easy to use. And now, Anchor is going to match you with great sponsors so you can get paid to podcast. So eventually, I'm going to get paid to do this. I tell you. Now, I use Anchor simply because I broadcast the Common Sense Show TV right here on Anchor, and I distribute that through Apple, iTunes, Spotify, Google, Castbox, Radio Public, right here on the internet. So if you guys want to start a podcast, make money doing it, go to anchor.fm/start. To join me and other podcasters on Anchor and this diverse community of podcasters already using this particular platform. That's anchor.fm/start. I can't wait to hear your podcast. Wait, it was 2001. Jesus Christ. I get my years mixed up. It's been so long. 2001. And so we leave. It was in July 2001. We pack up because he just got really crazy, and he was so enamored with my second wife that he lost his ever loving mind. Keep in mind, good folks, that's his cousin, but he was just so enamored with her. So some of the furniture that she had in her trailer home was his, or he helped pay for, or whatever. And so once he found out that she wasn't leaving me to be with him, to be with her cousin, she's not doing that. But once he found out that she wasn't leaving and we was moving out of the state, he came over and made a big old ruckus, right? So we had to give his furniture back. So he comes over, him and his wife. Now he's married. Yeah. He's married to a minister, no less, but we're not going to get into that. So he comes over, raising a ruckus. And so we give him back all the furniture that he either bought, put in, slapped his name on, whatever. If it was his, we gave it back. We couldn't take it with us anyway. So we throwing out dressers and bed frames and such like that. It was kind of a fun thing. We turned into a party. It was kind of cool. But, so my brother we packed up the whole mobile home. That was what was left. And we my brother drove the U-Haul, and me, my second wife, and the kids, because she had 2 kids at the time, or 3 at the time. Excuse me. We jumped on the Greyhound, and we went, and out to Chicago, we went via Greyhound. Let me tell you, that was the most daunting thing in my life. Getting on a Greyhound, going to a city and a state I've never been. I had never been in Chicago. I knew where Chicago was. I heard about it, but I never knew. This was in 2001. Now, if you guys are history buffs, the historic event of 9/11 happened that very same year. But we moved there. It was months before. It had to be about 6 or 7 months before. Daunting. So I get there. We pull into Chicago. Now her mama we moved in with her mother. Now her mother lives on the south side of Chicago. And if anybody's listen to this podcast, know where the south side of Chicago is. She lived off of 60th and Laughlin. That is dead smack in the middle of Inglewood, if you guys know anything about that. But I don't think 2001, the south side was bad, but it's not as bad as it is now. So I heard it's gotten pretty bad up there. But 2001, it was bad, but it's not as bad as it is now. And we pull in, we back the U-Haul up in the back of our house, right? And so we wasn't going to turn it in to the place until the next day. So we moved everything out of the U-Haul, put it all down in the basement of our mother's house. And they was throwing a cookout because it was warm. I think it was July, and it was warm. And they were throwing a cookout when we got there. And so that night we had a cookout, we had a good time, we drank, we ate, and then we went to bed. Now, her mother we slept in the attic of the house. There was 2 rooms up in the attic of the house. Her sister slept in one room, and me and my second wife slept in the other room. And at that night, we hear, blah, 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 blah. We didn't know what was going on. And come to find out, dudes was trying to get into the U-Haul, thinking something was in it. Jesus, first night, we already getting robbed. But good thing, nothing was in it. Everything was downstairs. We had moved everything out of the truck and downstairs. So again, I am scared out of my mind. I had no idea of what I was doing. I'm with this woman. I really don't know her, right? To be honest, I really don't know her. But just like I stated in another episode, I think it was episode 3 or 4, I said, I just stayed because I needed somewhere to stay. See, fellas, I'm saying that to say this. Don't get yourself into a position. Don't get yourself into a place to where you have to need somebody for a place to stay or for some clothes or something to eat or whatever. Get your own stuff. And so I'm in Chicago. I'm in a state. I have no idea. I know none of the etiquette because listen, Chicago and CTA and all that, there's etiquette. There are levels to this stuff in Chicago. You just can't come up there. Now, I'm from the South, so I'm always laughing and joking and giggling and hee-hawing and all that good stuff. But what you can't do in Chicago, you guys, is get on a CTA bus, L, or anything like that, and think you're going to sit there and giggle and laugh and ha-ha-ha and having a good time. No, it's just not going to happen. Stop doing that. Stop thinking that it's not happening. You're going to be mad. Don't do it. And so I'll never forget, she taught me how to ride the CTA. So I remember, here's a thing. Because with the buses, I didn't know, east and west and left and right. And I didn't know that. So she had to teach me how to do that. And so, excuse me. We get on the bus. We leave her mom's house. We get on the bus, and she left off laughing. We was going down to the Walmart on Cicero, and we go on the bus, and immediately I started, laughing on the bus or joking with her on the bus, and she's like, "Don't do that." I'm like, why not? No, it was funny. Don't do that. And so I was like, all right, cool. I won't do it. And so I had a stale face. And what happened was, she said, watch this. There was a young lady that was sitting in the front row of the bus. We was kind of in the back of the bus, or kind of middle ways to the back. And there was this young lady who was sitting in the very front row. Young man he came from the back of the bus. He got to a stop, came in the back of the bus and walked to the front of the bus. And as he was exiting the bus, he reached over and snatched her necklace off her neck from the front row. And I was like, good God, really? That's what we're doing now? And she leans over and she says to me, that's the reason why you don't laugh and giggle, because it makes you a target. I was like, a target? Like, oh my God, why? All right, cool. So you guys, be mindful of your surroundings. That's another thing. There's so many different lessons you can pick up from these podcasts. To be mindful of your surroundings. I had to change up my whole game to live in Chicago. And I didn't get any better at it either. I got worse. We're going to get into that on tomorrow's episode. But I found myself in a foreign land. I knew nothing of what I was doing to appease this young lady who I was in absolute lust with. It wasn't even love, y'all. It was lust. And then once I got to Chicago, it was like, I can't turn back now. I'm in Chicago. And you talk about something that was uncomfortable for me. Here's another story. The very first day that we were in Chicago, this is how I know I'm in the wrong area. We get out the U-Haul and all that good stuff, the bus, after we have the cookout. Her mother says, could you guys go down to the store for me and get her normal drink, which is a Bacardi Dark? That was her drink. And I'm sure to this day, she still drank that. I'm not sure if she does, because I haven't seen her in years, but I'm sure that's what she still drinks, because once a drinker of the same thing is always a drinker of the same thing. And so we're walking down Laughlin, and this car pulls up behind us, not in front, not on the side, but behind us. And the driver of the car, rolls his window down and yells out of the window, "What's up, Strawberry?" Now, Strawberry was apparently my ex's nickname back when she was in school. And I'm like, okay, first of all, how did he know it was you? You know what I'm saying? We're a good 50 feet from anybody. I said, now, how does he know that it was you? Gonna find out. I guess she had a memorable walk. Everybody kind of knew, her from her walk. And so he yelled out, "What's up, Strawberry?" from the car. She turned around, started giggling and going on. I said, okay, I know now I'm in a bad spot. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody knows her. Nobody knows me. She's home. I'm the foreigner here. So it was a very interesting trip. It was a very interesting situation, but I did it, like I said, because I was in absolute lust, and I was too far in the game to change it up. All right. So, but we're going to get into that in chapter 6. We're going to get in that because this particular marriage, was the tide turner for me. This is when I became a man, lost all, became a man again. But we're going to get into that. you guys, thank you again for listening to the podcast. I really do appreciate it. Chapter 6 coming up tomorrow. This is the Conversation Show TV podcast, episode 5. Happy Monday. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow.